The Prologue, The Hybrid Wars and the All. BA Purist. What's up everyone? Aminul here from ByteAndBeats. Before we even get into the audio gear today, I just want to say a massive thank you for sticking around. After taking a bit of a hiatus from the channel, I am incredibly grateful to be back behind the mic and reconnecting with this amazing community. It feels truly wonderful to return, and I am thrilled to kick things off today with something very special. We are currently living right in the middle of a hybrid arms race. Every single week, a brand drops a new IEM featuring a wild mix of dynamic drivers, balanced armatures, planar magnetics, and bone conductors. But sometimes, when you cram that much varying technology into a single shell, you sort of lose the musical flow, right? You lose the cohesion. Today, we are hitting the reset button. This is the Letshuoer Mystic 8. It originally launched back in February of 2025, and while I know I am a little late to the party with this review, I have wanted to give it a proper audition for a very long time. Before we go any further, I have to give a huge shout out and a very special thanks to one of my dearest brothers, Rohit from Sonic Mantra, for generously lending this to me for a while to play with. And let me tell you right now, even though it has been out for a minute, it is absolutely still a highly relevant entry in today's market. It is a pure 8-driver BA setup that retails right around the $1,000 mark. No dynamic drivers, no electrostatics, just 4 Knowles BA drivers and 4 Sonion BA drivers wrapped up in a stunning precision-CNC titanium alloy shell. I have spent the last few weeks putting the Mystic 8 through the absolute ringer, driving it with everything from my Asus Zenfone 10 to my flagship Cayin N7 Plus, all the way up to the powerhouse iBasso DX340 paired with the PB6 Macaw tube amp. If you are an audiophile hunting for dead-on neutrality, vocal perfection, and surgical detail without the artificial hype, get comfortable. We are going deep today. No marketing fluff, just the sonic truth. But first, before we analyze the sound, let's get this thing on the desk and talk about what you actually get inside the box. Unboxing, design, and the accessory Quirks. Alright, let's kick things off with the physical hardware, because Letshuoer actually made some highly intentional design choices here. The Mystic 8 arrives in premium packaging, but the carrying case was what really stood out to me. It has a rigid main body with a soft silicone top cover and a silicone inlay inside. Now, this is genuinely a brilliant functional choice. Unlike those heavy metal cases that just violently rattle your expensive gear around, this silicone acts as an active shock absorber. It might seem like a minor detail, but I genuinely appreciate the practical protection. The ear shells themselves are a real eye-catcher. They are precision-CNC milled from a titanium alloy coated with a premium vapor black finish. In hand, they are a good bit heavier than your usual acrylic shells, but, not quite as heavy as steel ones. The faceplate is especially intricate, featuring a milled figure of the phantom cat with a crystal right in its eye. It feels incredibly robust and cold to the touch. The passive isolation is also fantastic. If you are sitting in a loud, chaotic cafe trying to review some audio edits, the Mystic 8 acts as a serious physical barrier blocking out the outside world. Letshuoer also throws in a quirky chain and ring accessory in the box. I honestly had zero idea what the practical use for it was, but my daughter Ira, who is always on the lookout for anything with a cute bear theme or anime aesthetic, completely claimed it the second she saw it. The electronic input is a common 0.78mm 2-pin connector that sits perfectly flush with the body of the ear shell. Connecting to that is a 1.25-meter silver-plated monocrystalline copper 8-wire round braid terminated in a soldered 4.4mm jack. Now initially I thought it looked a little bit thin for a flagship monitor, but handling it over the last few weeks, honestly, it just feels cheap. It completely fails to complement the sheer masterpiece that is the titanium shell. It resists tangling and doesn't carry microphonics, sure, but it feels like an absolute afterthought. For a $1,000 package, you expect a cable with some real premium substance, not something that feels like it belongs on a $200 mid-fi set. Oh my god, guys! Wait, did you even notice that? Actually, guys, quick pause. I tried using a new black leather mat today, but it's a total camouflage nightmare. These black shells are just disappearing into the background. Let me just swap over to my charcoal grey felt desk pad real quick. Yeah, okay, much better. Now you can actually, see the details on the titanium. And speaking of detail, let's pop the hood and see what's actually powering these things. The engine room, technical architecture. Okay, let's get nerdy for a second and look under the hood. The Mystic 8 relies entirely on balanced armatures. 4 Sonion drivers handling the lows and lower mid-range, and 4 Knowles drivers taking care of the upper mids and the treble, all tied together by a highly precise 4-way acoustic tube architecture. The traditional knock against an all BA set is the low end. Specifically, that classic BA bass that can sound a bit hollow and lack proper decay. To counteract this, Letshuoer built a physical low-pass filtering module right into the acoustic tube system. From an engineering perspective, my read on this is that they used porous materials and a micro-hole structure to physically force a better low-frequency resonance while managing the highs through a highly precise 3-way electronic crossover. The whole point of doing this is absolute phase coherence. By using drivers that share, the exact same physical mechanism, the Mystic 8 aims to sound like one unified breathing instrument rather than a disjointed collection of separate parts. But how hard is it to actually wake up all those drivers? Let's talk about power and drivability. Drivability, sensitivity, and the noise floor. On paper, the specs sit at 18 ohms of impedance and a sensitivity of 107 decibels. It also boasts a frequency response spanning from 20 Hz all the way up to, 40 kHz. On the drivability front, this is a highly efficient IEM. If you plug it straight into a mobile device, it gets loud with very little effort. However, as we all know, loud does not equal correct. It is incredibly sensitive to the quality of your source chain. On a basic dongle, the Soundstage feels a bit compressed and trapped. When you step up to a dedicated digital audio player with high current, the imaging opens up entirely. Because it is so sensitive, you really have to watch your amplifier's noise flow. When I ran this through the iBasso PB6 Macaw tube amp on high gain, I actively listened for background hiss. Thankfully, the Mystic 8 is exceptionally well shielded. The background remains wonderfully pitch black, which lets all those subtle micro details shine through without fighting against amplifier static. Now, before we get to the actual sound breakdown, we have to address a crucial physical variable that will make or break your experience. Let's talk about ear tips. The tip rolling variable. I have to mention ear tips right away because the Mystic 8 will literally change its entire personality depending on what silicone you snap onto the nozzle. The nozzle measures around 6.2 millimeters at its widest point. If you want to maximize the soundstage and let the upper frequencies breathe, wide bore tips are basically mandatory. I found the Pentagon Courier Al Alloy aluminum ear tips or the Soft Tears UT titanium alloy liquid silicone ear tips to offer a very high level of technical performance. If you find the top end just a bit too crisp or revealing for your liking, swapping to a narrower bow like the Final E-type or the Divinus Velvet tips will mechanically dial back that upper energy and, give a slight bump to the mid-bass, creating a slightly warmer overall tilt. For my sound impressions today, I am basing everything on wide bow tips to give you the most honest, completely uncolored view of this monitor. Alright, with the physical setup out of the way, let's finally talk about the low end and see how that bass actually hits. Bass, strict discipline over destruction. Let's talk about that low end. If you are a bass head chasing skull-rattling rumble, I am going to save you some time. You can safely look elsewhere. The Mystic 8 handles bass with strict discipline and, absolute control. On tracks with heavy sub-bass emphasis, like Porter Robinson's Shelter, the deep extension is definitely present. It reaches low, but it absolutely refuses to artificially elevate those frequencies. The texture is dry, incredibly snappy, and highly articulate. You hear the exact pitch of the bass note clearly, but you just won't necessarily feel the physical air moving in your chest like you would with a massive dynamic driver. Moving into the mid-bass, the impact is polite but highly responsive. For rock or fast metal, this is actually a massive benefit. The bass hits, recovers instantly, and stays entirely out of the mid-range. It is a highly resolving, studio reference style of low end that favors total accuracy and speed over, raw, brain-shaking fun. But if the bass is that disciplined, what does that mean for the vocals? Let's move up to the mid-range. Mid-range, the absolute standout. The mid-range is honestly where this IEM justifies its flagship position. It is hands down the most refined, stunning aspect of the entire tuning. The balance they achieved here is notably impressive. You get a very forward, expressive vocal presentation, yet, it remains incredibly neutral and uncolored. Female vocals are rendered with breathtaking clarity. On Adele's Someone Like You, her voice sits right at the front of the stage. It is intimate, transparent, and completely free of any unnatural thickening. It easily captures the delicate nuances of her breath and vibrato with high-speed precision. For male vocals, the Mystic 8 manages something rare. Normally, vocal forward sets highly favor female singers and leave male voices sounding kind of thin and reedy. Not here. Male and female vocals share, equal stage presence. However, because the lower mid-range is so strictly neutral, deeper baritone voices might lack that final layer of heavy chest resonance that a warm dynamic driver naturally provides. It is an honest, articulate vocal presentation rather than a heavily romanticized one. Acoustic instruments sound remarkably natural. The timbre is organic for an all-BA setup, and the spatial separation between acoustic guitars and pianos is exceptionally precise. So the mids are spectacular, but how does it handle the highest, sharpest notes? Let's look at the treble.
Treble, crisp, airy, and unforgiving. Treble on the Mystic 8 is where things get really interesting and honestly, a bit ruthless. On well-mastered high-resolution tracks from Tidal or Cobas, the highs are incredibly capable. They are crisp, airy, and extend smoothly without feeling forced. Cymbals carry a natural metallic bite, and the sense of air around the instruments gives the music a wonderful feeling of openness. However, make no mistake, this is a highly revealing monitor. It absolutely refuses to sugarcoat bad recordings. The treble carries a very distinct crispness to it. On poorly recorded tracks or with vocalists who naturally lean towards sibilance, the Mystic 8 will bluntly expose those sharp S and SH sounds. It doesn't artificially smooth them over for your comfort. It isn't inherently harsh on its own, but it demands high-quality source files and good mastering to, perform at its best. So when you combine all of those frequencies together, how does the actual stage feel? Let's talk technicalities. Technicalities, holographic imaging and resolution. When you zoom out and look at the overall sound signature, the profile is dead neutral, highly resolving, and exceptionally balanced. It is what I like to call musical neutrality. The soundstage width is expansive. It pushes the audio well outside of your head, creating a stage that feels much more like a wide, live venue. While the width is notable, the depth is a bit more moderate. It is a flatter, wider presentation overall. The macro layering, however, is highly competent. You can easily pull apart massive, complex arrangements without any smearing whatsoever. This IEM is essentially a magnifying glass for your library. The imaging is pinpoint accurate. You can close your eyes and point to exactly where the hi-hat sits on the stage. The detail retrieval is phenomenal, placing the Mystic 8 firmly in the top tier of technical performers at this price point. But here is the catch. To get that massive stage, you need the right gear. Let's talk about source synergy.
Source synergy, scaling with the heavyweights. Since the Mystic 8 is so incredibly transparent, it acts like a chameleon, taking on the exact characteristics of your source gear. The Cayin N7 Plus. Pairing. This is, for my ears, the absolute standout pairing. The N7 Plus naturally leans slightly warm and organic thanks to its discrete 1-bit architecture. When you pair that with the surgical neutrality of the Mystic 8, things just click perfectly. The source adds a touch of needed body to the lower mid-range and rounds off the absolute sharpest edges of that revealing treble. The result is technically brilliant, but remains highly musical and fatigue-free. The iBasso DX340 with Amp 18. This pairing is built strictly for the audio engineer. The DX340 is highly neutral and dynamic. Combined with the Mystic 8, it becomes the ultimate critical listening tool. The bass tightens up to clinical levels and the treble extension feels limitless. It is highly analytical, though I will admit it might be slightly too intense for casual, relaxed listening on the couch. Adding the iBasso PB6 macaw. When you add the tube warmth of the PB6 macaw into the chain, the soundstage expands even further and the macro dynamics get a nice, effortless lift. The tubes inject a beautiful sense of harmonic richness into the mid-range that makes acoustic tracks sound strikingly real. So the hardware scales beautifully, but how does it actually handle your daily rotation of music? Let's put it to the genre test. The real-world genre test. Let's step away from the test tracks and get practical. How does this actually handle your daily playlists? Jazz and acoustic. 5 out of 5 stars. This is an exceptional match. The organic timbre, vocal intimacy, and pristine separation make live jazz recordings sound incredibly lifelike. Classical and orchestral. 5 out of 5 stars. The expansive soundstage width, combined with the high-speed BA transient response, allows the Mystic 8 to, render a full symphony orchestra with total clarity. Rock and metal. 4 out of 5 stars. The fast, disciplined bass handles double-kick drums effectively without muddying the distorted guitars. However, some hardcore metal listeners might miss that aggressive, visceral physical slam in the low end. Pop and R&B. 3.5 out of 5 stars. The vocal clarity is remarkable, but modern pop relies heavily on deep sub-bass foundations. The polite bass tuning here might leave you wanting a bit more, heavy low-end energy. EDM and hip-hop. 3 out of 5 stars. Let's be real. If you strictly listen to trap-style hip-hop or heavy electronic music, this is not the set for you. It simply lacks the physical rumble required to truly bring those genres to life. Taking all of that into account, let's sum up the real-world trade-offs in our pros and cons. Pros and cons. Alright, let's bring it all together and talk about the real-world trade-offs, starting with the stuff I absolutely appreciated. On the pro side, the Mystic 8 delivers reference-grade neutrality. It offers an incredibly balanced, uncolored sound signature that stays remarkably true to the original recording, allowing you to hear the music exactly as the engineer intended. This strict neutrality paves the way for its mid-range mastery. The vocal presentation here is exceptionally refined, giving you a highly detailed and completely organic vocal delivery without even a hint of shoutiness. Backing up that stellar mid-range is high-tier technical performance. An expansive holographic soundstage width, complete with pinpoint imaging and superb instrument separation. And physically, it offers an ultra-premium build to match its price tag. The CNC machined titanium shell is gorgeous, feels incredibly robust, and is built to last a lifetime. But obviously, nothing in audio is perfect, and we need to talk about the flip side. Looking at the cons, the most obvious drawback is its very polite bass. Hardcore bass heads will likely be underwhelmed here, as the low end focuses entirely on texture and speed, actively sacrificing physical slam and deep sub-bass rumble. Furthermore, you have to contend with a very unforgiving treble. Because the top end is so highly resolving and transparent, it will bluntly expose poorly recorded tracks and will heavily emphasize sibilance if it already exists in your source files. It will not fix bad audio for you. Then we have to talk about that stock cable, which is a major letdown. For a $1,000 flagship, shipping a thin, basic wire with a fixed soldered plug instead of a premium modular system feels like a massive oversight. It feels cheap in the hand, and it completely fails to match the boutique luxury of those stunning titanium shells. Finally, this IEM is highly source dependent.
In order to add life and musicality to its flat analytical tuning, it heavily relies on being paired with a high-quality, preferably warm-leaning source, like my Cayin N7 Plus, to truly sound its absolute best. So, weighing all the good and the bad, it is time for the final verdict. The final verdict. So, when the music finally stops, who should actually be opening their wallet for the Letshuoer Mystic 8? If you are hunting for a fun, club-like bass that shakes your jaw, or if you just want to kick back on the couch and let a warm, fuzzy blanket of sound wash over you, save your $1,000. Seriously, turn around and respectfully walk away. This IEM will just break your heart. But if you want the absolute unfiltered truth, if you treat your favorite songs like a crime scene and you want to uncover every single hidden breath, string pluck and, background whisper, then this is your weapon of choice. The Mystic 8 doesn't just play your music, it completely dissects it. It proves that when executed perfectly, a pure BA setup can still stand toe-to-toe with the modern heavyweights. Hook it up to a smooth, warm player like my Cayin N7 Plus to give it just a little bit of soul. Put on that one album you think you know inside and out and prepare to relearn every single track. Look, the search for the perfect sound is a never-ending journey, and I'm just glad we get to take it together. I am Aminul, and this is ByteAndBeats. If this deep dive helped you dodge an expensive mistake or, find your next holy grail, consider joining the family down below. Drop a comment and tell me what piece of gear you want me to put under the microscope next. Until then, trust your ears, keep the music playing, and I will catch you in the next video.